quite the month for Eric and Leida. Eric was arrested on July 5th for disorderly conduct and misdemeanor battery. He was later hit with a few additional charges like having an open container and operating a motor vehicle while intoxicated. And while he was in jail, him and Leida's 5-week-old daughter tragically passed away. They said that she had swelling in her brain. She was rushed to the hospital, put on life support, where she passed away days later. Well, Leida all of a sudden was arrested, and I thought, okay, maybe they're smacking her with charges for her daughter's passing. But no, she was arrested for bail jumping after she up and moved, and she is supposed to update her address with her bondsman every single time she moves or changes her phone number. And she did both of those things and did not update her bondsman. So she was arrested for this. She had to update her information. She was released from jail not even 24 hours later. And then Eric went and talked to somebody who ended up sending receipts of their conversation to John Yates. And in these receipts, Eric admitted that Leida did indeed leave the country and go back to her home country. There are rumors going around that Leida's son was in CPS custody. And I'm like, okay, I feel better about that than the child being with her, because I was scared, because I'm like, if Leida is responsible for her daughter's passing, who's to say she won't do the same thing to her son? Well, apparently, according to Eric, after the daughter passed away, Leida jumped on a plane and she went all the way to Indonesia with her son. She dropped her son off with her parents, flew all the way back to America all by herself, and then once she got back, she was arrested and put in jail for bail jumping. And that could explain and be another reason why she was arrested, because she was not supposed to leave the country at the time. So she was arrested, she bailed out of jail. Not even 24 hours later, she paid $2,000 to bond out. She was released from jail on the 18th. Or does that say the 19th? The 18th. And she was supposed to go back for another court appearance in person on the 21st. But they had to note that Leida was unable to appear in person because she was in the mental hospital at UW Hospital. And they're trying to assume that, okay, she's going to the mental hospital now because she's going to try to plead insanity to try to get out of this case concerning her daughter. I mean, right now she doesn't have a case against her, but police said they are investigating the matter. And people have been calling this because this is kind of Leida's playbook. Back in February, she allegedly had charges come against her for abusing this puppy, and she tried to use the same defense back then. So she is in the mental hospital, but she is now out, and as soon as she was released, she went straight to a lawyer to file for a divorce. So she filed for divorce on July 29th. This is not the first time that Leida has filed for divorce. She filed for divorce on February 12th, right around the time that the whole incident with the puppy happened. And she had a proposed order filed on February 16th, but the court dismissed the divorce on February 21st. Leida got one over on the court. So when she filed for divorce in February, they're like, okay, we need you to pay us some cash. So she gave them a $180 check, and then she gave them $4.50 in cash. Well, after she dismissed the divorce, she turned around and put a stop check to the check, so she still owes the courts $180. And now she's filed for divorce again, and let's hope she didn't pay with the check that she's going to put a stop check to again. But she filed for divorce on July 29th from Eric, and it says that she came up with this marital settlement agreement. It's all one-sided. Like, she drafted this, she wrote this up all herself, just pretty much listing like what she feels like she should get out of the divorce, like what assets, like how much he should pay her, if anything at all. And it says that this has been proposed, but it doesn't say that it's been approved or anything at this time. And then she also tried to put an order in motion to try to seal or redact this court record so nobody could see that she filed for divorce. And she also wanted to remove her address from the court record because she claims she just moved. Apparently, she was staying in a house with Eric, but I guess she got like this free housing from going to like a DV shelter, and she's been pretty much staying in this place for a while, even though allegedly people are saying that her income well exceeds the limits that you're allowed to make to be able to stay in a place like this. So she tried to get her address not shown to the public and this whole divorce filing hidden, but the judge turned that down. He's like, no, we are gonna make this public, baby. This is everybody's business. I'm sure Leida wasn't happy about that. And then after this all came out, shout out to Shabuti. He's the one that originally broke the news about her filing for separation from Eric. And then shout out to Starcasm. They came through and listed the exact details of this whole legal separation agreement that she filed. So Leida is trying to get spousal support from Eric. She is asking for $7,000 a month for spousal support to begin in September of 2025. And if she thinks he's making $7,000 a month, they must have been rolling in the dough if she thinks he has that much just to pay her in spousal support. I know as a blogger, I've read so many divorce filings and like child custody cases, and I've learned how much a lot of people made, like for example, like Pumpkin and Josh from Mama June, when they went through their divorce agreement, even though they agreed from the jump that they didn't want to like do any kind of spousal support, they still had to dig into how much they're making, and it came out they're making $20,000 a piece each month. So I know eventually it's going to come out how much Eric and Leida are making in this divorce paperwork, and I'm very curious to see that when this comes out. Like, how much do you guys think they're making? They must have been making like at least $20,000 a month or $15,000 a month if she thinks he can afford $7,000 in spousal support. And then she wants him to sign this agreement that he will permanently give up the right to receive maintenance, and understands that by giving up maintenance at this time, he may never ask for maintenance. So that's pretty much him receiving any kind of spousal support. And then she wants him to give her all the household items included in the filing, including all the furniture, a couch, tables, lamp, dining table, chairs, washing machine, dryer, electronics, TV. It sounds like she's pretty much going for everything in that house outside of his personal belongings. And then she is trying to keep the 2018 Audi A6, and she wants him to keep two cars, a 2011 Chevy Suburban and a 2002 Corvette. And I think that's interesting because I just saw her on Facebook Marketplace trying to sell that 2022 Corvette for like $70,000, and this was only like a month ago she's trying to sell his car. And then she said that she wants to be able to have full control of the business, and it's some shady dealings with this whole business. I guess like originally it was an Eric and hers name, but I don't know. I think John Yates was saying that like once he went to jail or at some point something happened and she was able to switch it all to her name. And now she's trying to get exclusive 100% rights to the truck business that they've wasted all this money and time building up together. What I want to know is, how does she really think he's going to be able to pay her $7,000 a month if she's going to fully take away the business and his means of making money, and all he knows is that trucking business? How's he going to come up with the money? She's going to take the whole business from him. Make it make sense. And she listed all the debts and liabilities they have, and they owe over $110,000 on the house, and she wants him to give up full ownership of the house and completely give her the house and pretty much everything inside the house. So she wants the house, and there's $110,000 owed, and she says she wants them both to be equally responsible, so they'll probably have to pay 50-50, so he'll probably have to pay at least $55,000 of that mortgage. And what I want to know is while he's paying half of her house and probably having to pay rent or mortgage somewhere else for him to live somewhere else. Here's what I want to know. We know that she's currently living in a nice house she was hooked up with because she went to a DV shelter after Eric put hands on her. They hooked her up with this nice place that taxpayers are mostly paying for, and her rent is next to nothing each month, and she's been able to stay in this place. And then right before, like a month or so ago, she was trying to rent out this house she shared with Eric, and people were like, okay, she must be trying to flee the country. Well, Eric was like, no, she is trying to rent this house out because she has her own house that she got hooked up with because of this DV incident, and she's been staying there. So is she still going to be able to stay in this house that the taxpayers are mostly paying for after this divorce agreement if she ends up winning Eric's house and he has to pay half the rent? Because if that's the case, I feel like she should have to move out of the place that she's in now. I mean, I don't think that's fair for her to live off the taxpayers and then win this house potentially in the divorce settlement just for her to turn around and rent it out and pocket thousands each month. So she wants him to give her the house, and she wants him to equally share the balance of $110,000, and then she wants one of the cars that they owe $10,000 on, and she wants him to equally share what's owed. So she wants him to cough up half the money for the car, and then she wrote down the other two cars, and she said she's willing to share equally what's owed on the other cars. So I hope that she really means that she'd be willing to pay the $7,000 and half of the $10,000 owed on the other car. And then she listed a few other things. I guess there's $200 on a credit card for Citibank, $100, or it says 100 CBA. I'm not sure what that is, but there's a $4,800 debt. There's a $17,000 debt, a $600 debt, and she wants them to equally split these debts. And she wants to be able to have the business account, and she said that he can have the personal checking account. Damn, this right here is why I am so scared to get married, because once things go south, things can just get so damn messy. And let this be a reminder, if you're thinking about getting a prenup, get it. But that is it for this video, guys. Let me know what you guys think about everything in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.